Geoff Meade, Brussels-based journalist of 35 years standing, maybe even more. First of all, the event this evening is called the EU and the UK election, dissection, reflection, direction. Which direction do you think the EU is going in now following the Conservative victory?
That is such a good question, and it's so early since the election occurred, and we're just getting to grips with the fact that there will now be a referendum in the UK. Direction of travel is clearly centre-right, frankly. In terms of being here now, we're not talking about the prospect of possibly a referendum. It's now going to happen. There's no getting away from that. And I think it's focusing people's minds. And we are just now, and as you say, with this debate tonight, just now getting to grips with what can it mean, what are the prospects. And of course, everything will have to be debated. It's going to take time. This means that for at least a year, maybe a year and a half, anything coming from the mouth of a British minister in Brussels is subject to an internal, maybe an actual physical response to them saying, well, look, why should we take any notice of you? You might be out of the door in 5 minutes. I think this is bad for Britain in Europe. It's bad for Europe. It can't function. It's got a flat tire in one of its 28 wheels. It's that kind of thing. On the other hand, we are where we are. What do we do now? You try to get a sensible debate about reform. The signals from Brussels have not all been negative. Jean-Claude Juncker has said variously either he's not interested or yes, we want Britain in, so we'll try to do what we can. Now, none of us can know how much of that is for public consumption and just theatre and how much he means it. But David Cameron now has a serious job to do. He was forced into this by backbenchers, just like every Tory leader down the ages, certainly since I came to Brussels. They've all been backed into a corner by the European issue. Cameron's the first one who's actually having to call someone's bluff and now say, oh, yes, right, we're having this referendum. The question is, what will he get out of Brussels and when will he get it? And who's prepared to play ball? We don't know.
Do you believe the Scots are going to be prepared to play ball? I believe that they've been placed in an interesting position, given that I believe that the SNP sort of told them, oh, vote for us and you'll get a Labour government. That hasn't happened, and now they seem to be tied to the virtual possible idea of maybe leaving the EU in a couple of years. What do you think?
It is surreal. As you say, they were saying, vote for us and we'll keep the Labour Party in check and everything. By voting for the SNP, of course, it meant there could not be a Labour Party because the SNP was stealing the Labour Party seats. So yes, we are in this bizarre mixed marriage, if you like, of this staunchly pro-European part of the United Kingdom and David Cameron, who fundamentally thinks we should stay in, but he's buffeted by the winds of his backbenchers. It's always been the way, as I say. So yes, we've got a push-me-pull-you situation where a lot of the mainstream backbenchers, by mainstream, that's still centre-right and anti-EU, but I mean mainstream, say, look, we've got this resounding result compared to what we expected. Go for it. We can be out of the European Union in seconds if we work at it. But the same election returned this great massive SNP in the north who were saying, right, there's no way we want to be attached to a European, a United Kingdom, which may just be about to leave the European Union. So, I mean, apart from taking a massive great chainsaw and going along Hadrian's Wall with it, I'm not quite sure how we do this. Now, if the referendum delivers a positive result, by that I mean to stay in the EU, then all of this goes away. But right now it is, dare I say, amusing to find that the SNP, wedded to the European Union far more than to the UK, finds itself umbilically tied to the one party it did not want to be linked with. And Nicola Sturgeon, the leader of the SNP, of course, will not be sitting comfortably watching David Cameron and his ministers coming here to negotiate. And I've got a feeling, I mean, I've been here a long time, and on fisheries, Scotland insisted on sending a minister. I've got a feeling that although it's nothing to do with the SNP directly, on those occasions when they're talking about what possible reforms could be agreed for Britain to keep it in the EU, I think Nicola Sturgeon might be going up to David Cameron saying, "Look, I think the Scots need a voice of their own in this." She won't get one, but it is a strange circumstance, and I find it hard to believe. We've talked about this for so many years, and I believe that this would not happen. That somehow there'd be a weak coalition, or indeed that the Labour Party might win, and then all of this will go away. Well, it's not going away.